Hiya, we're back in the park again. It's slightly sunny, so that's one good thing. We got the Mini 1 back out. Hi, so we're back in the park. You may remember from the previous video that we brought the Fimi Mini out and had lots of issues with it, as usual. And we rebought the Mini 1. And the reason being that we rebought the Mini 1 was we thought that it would work well with tracking, so that we could have active track and compete with the Fimi Mini. And basically it's the only other mini drone that actually has the ability to do active track. Via the third-party Litchi app, which is an additional cost. It costs about £22. I'm not sure about in dollars on the App Store. And the annoying thing is, I think if you get it on the Android store, you will then, the Play Store, and then if you want it on iOS as well, I think you'd have to pay again. So that's a bit of a pain. But I'm guessing that's down to the, sorry about that, train just going by. That's down to the kind of App Store policies, which are a bit of a pain in the neck when you've got two types of device and you use more than one. Anyway, yeah, last time we flew the Fimi Mini, we saw misting in the lens. That was a bit of a pain. Its active track worked really well. I was really impressed with how well the active track worked. And that was great. But as soon as we got it up, we have picked a better part of the park today, hopefully, for the video. So hopefully you won't have the issues, guys. There's a lot of trains going by. We picked a better position in some ways and not in others, but we can't get the best conditions, unfortunately. But basically we brought the Fimi Mini out. We had lots of issues with it, with the camera misting mainly. The active track all worked really well. I haven't brought it back out today. I think we're gonna have to look into why the misting is occurring. Not sure why that misting is occurring, but it's a bit of a pain. And we did see it in the first video that we did with the Fimi Mini. And we never saw it again after the first video until the last video, so that's really weird. But there's obviously something to do with the camera lens, that when the conditions are right in the air, it misses up. And I don't know, it didn't feel like it was overheating. It wasn't particularly misty day or any of that kind of stuff, so no idea why that occurred, but we're going to have to look into it. But the thing that boils down really is that, do you really want that hassle? Do you want the hassle of buying a drone just because it's a bit cheaper than the Mini 1 or the Mini 2? Yes, it is quite cheaper than the Mini 2, but compared to the Mini 1, I think you can get these on really good deals now. I think for me, I would go for the Mini drones from DJI, just because when I looked at the footage on the previous video, because that's the thing, you don't see the footage until we get home and edit the video. You can kind of get an idea from the screen, but it's not perfect. And we got home and edited that video and just realized just how good the quality was on the Mini 1. I mean, when this is a 2.7K camera, not a 4K camera, and it just felt to me like, compared with the Fimi, the picture quality was awful on the Fimi in my opinion, maybe because of the misting that happened that day. But again, reliability issues that you just don't want when you're spending money. You buy this, and if you buy a new one, and there is still new stock available. I mean, I know this was refurbished. I bought it from a kind of trusted seller on eBay, one that does a lot of refurbishments of DJI products. In fact, I bought an Osmo Pocket from them. It looked like it was brand new. It said refurbished, but it looked brand new to me. This drone, there was slight, I don't know, there was some dirt around the kind of the legs on one leg, but the rest of it was all great, and it flew well. It was more the Litchi app that kind of nearly got it lost last time. But yeah, just to me, the picture quality between the Fimi Mini X8 and the kind of the Mini 1, which is only 2.7K against 4K, I just felt like this had a much brighter, the picture looked great. And even when rendered, upscaled into 4K, on the YouTube quality, it looked good to me. And so for me, I just think I would probably go for DJI. We'll live in hope with the whole Hubsan Zino Mini Pro, because the Zino Mini Pro might be good. The specs say it will be, but specs aren't everything. I bought the Zino 2 Plus and wasn't impressed, but they tend to be, I don't know. I just think these drones kind of always feel very solid, reliable, well tested. Yes, they may not have all the same specs, but anyway, let's get this. What I want to try out, basically the main reason for this video is I have changed my phone out. So I've now got a Samsung Galaxy in here, which I'm hoping the processor's a bit better. Now, I've got a horrible suspicion that the iOS version of the app will probably do a better job of the tracking than the Android one. Now, I don't know why that is, but we're going to give the Samsung Galaxy a go before we resort to buying another license for Litchi, which will cost another sort of £22. So anyway, let's just check our settings, make sure everything's good. Go into camera. We've got, actually, yeah, the camera settings are in a different place, but I'll check the aircraft settings while we're here. It's set to return to home. That's very important. We found out last time that we nearly lost the drone because of that. So, you know, we should have better connection. We're going to put the drone up a bit higher so we've got a better line of sight to it. I think we were just slightly too low. There were trees in the way. I think it caused a problem. I don't think we're going to get this issue this time, but let's see. I could turn off that warning. Let's just check the settings. I think it will remember. Yeah, it's 2.7 at 29.97 frames a second, 30 frames with change. And I think basically it's all looking good. So let's start the recording on the drone. Let's do a takeoff. In fact, I want to just sort of make sure that the propellers, because it's a bit bunched up, and I think, right, so let's do the propeller. Yeah, there we go. It's our pad never lays kind of exactly flat. We got a little bit more wind today than we did the previous time, but let's see how we get on. There's just a bit more gusts about. This drone is not the best in wind, I would say, compared to the Mini 2. As you can see, it's getting blown. There's kind of a crosswind. So let's see how we get on. But, you know, I'm hopeful that we got better signal and stuff today. Okay, so it all looks good. It looks like it's doing okay. Spin around. And what we're going to try and do is just see if the active track works a bit better with this phone. Maybe see if we can get a bit of a better view around and not lose signal as well. So let's sort of take it up a bit. I want to look towards me, drop the camera down, right, and then move it back a bit. I know, that's forward. Ooh, that's down. Hang on, right. Let's get my bearings. Because I'm thinking of the camera and I'm thinking of the drone at the same time, and I think that just confuses you a bit. So let's try it about there at the moment. We know how to go into track mode now. We know that we've got a pinch, right? That's set me on. I'm going to click on the track, right, and I'm going to give it a go. Let's see now. This does look different to me. It's getting, yeah, this looks much better. This looks much better. So changing to the Samsung Galaxy S10, I think the processor just likes it more maybe. I mean, I was using the Xiaomi Xiaomi Mi 9T Pro before, which I thought had very good specs, but it is sort of struggling a little bit to catch up there, but it's not doing too bad. Yeah, I think there just must be something about Android where if you don't have every, you know, if it doesn't know every processor, or maybe it just doesn't quite work with some and works with others. And I mean, it's not, it's gone off track, I think, there actually. I think it's gone off. Right, let's do it again. It's on yellow, so I've got a feeling it will lose me again, but I think, do you know, I have a sneaking suspicion that when you use the iOS app with like an iPhone 12 or something, it'll probably work really well. But I bet you if you use Android, maybe more of the development's going into the iOS app. I don't know. I mean, I'm not a Litchi expert, so, but it is tracking. It is tracking me, it is spinning round. And if I can speed it up a bit. see how we get on. We go this way. I didn't see any settings for like kind of going backwards, but I think it's working. Let's walk towards it. Will that confuse it? Doesn't seem to. It seems to want to go backwards, and that was the thing on the Fimi. You had to set it to kind of go backwards. It wouldn't do it by default. And once we did that, we found the tracking was just amazingly better as soon as you set that setting. But yeah, it's tracking me around. This is a Mini 1 now. This is a Mini 1 tracking me around the park, no problem. I wish I brought the scooter now and basically gone around the park and let the Mini 1 just follow us around the park. But yeah, this is pretty cool. This is it's moaning about strong wind warnings. There is a bit of a crosswind coming across us, so I'm not surprised by that. But yeah, night and day with yesterday. If you've got a flagship Android, you know, I mean, this is S10, so it's not the newest Android out. So, you know, I mean, we picked this one up cheap off eBay as well. It was mainly for a filming camera, I think, originally, because we thought it had relatively good filming quality, but don't know, we always had problems syncing the audio for some reason. But anyway, this is doing well for actually doing this. I just hope the screen recording will be half decent on this, because it's kind of a weird sort of curved phone. I don't know if it's quite as good as the Xiaomi for filming the screen, but you know, it's doing a good job of this tracking. So I think if you've got an iPhone or a decent Android, like one of the more sort of top brand Android phones, you'll probably be okay. Maybe the newer Xiaomi phones, I don't know, but there was clearly something about that processor in my other phone that it didn't like. It's got low confidence again now, so right, let's reposition it. Oh, hang on, I tapped on the actual map there by accident. And let's see, but yeah, this is really good. This is really good. So let's see if we can confuse it, walk in between the camera and the yeah, there we go. That's usually the kind of thing that will fox tracking, is that they will get confused between other objects. So we've seen that before on other drones, so it's not a big, you know, I mean, if you don't go out trying to fox it, it won't do it. So but yeah, all good. The Litchi app seems pretty good. The tracking's all working really well. I'm wondering what kind of advanced features we've got on here as well. So let's come out of that tracking and let's just see if there's any sort of like, is there anything like cool features like droney or something? I don't know if we've got those sort of features here. I don't think waypoint works. I know that like people were saying that you could use, yeah, it's not supported. So yeah, that was something that I was told actually, that it doesn't support it. But I don't know if we've got any kind of, there's orbit. I need to go back into the map. That's another thing. It doesn't come out of things, does it? So no, I think you've got to upload like, you know, files to do this. So yeah, I don't think that's quite what we want. I don't know with Litchi what features you've got really compared to the Fly app. But the thing is, you can do droney in the DJI Fly app. So do you really need it? You know, yes, you've got to switch between apps, but, and I won't do that now, but you know, it's not a bad, this app gives you something basically that you didn't have in the app, you know, in the Fly app. So you know, that's quite amazing if you've got a half decent phone. Right, so what we're going to do, I think, is sort of, you know, we'll do a bit of a fly and see if we get that signal issue again today. So let's take it up, and because I think it's worth taking a look at the picture quality on this drone. It does go up really smoothly on Litchi. That's one thing I'll say. It's a nice sort of ascent, very slow. You know, and that's one of the things with the Fly app, is it can be a little bit kind of jerky for me, the movements of the drone. So we're going to take it up, and you want to go up more than you know, the previous day. So we want to go up sort of like around about 80 meters or something, I think. And you know, because I want a decent line of sight really, and I don't want any issues kind of with signal. But you know, it's moaning about wind. To be honest, I found that with the Mini 1 when we first had it, was that it was very prone to wind issues. So let's just see. At the moment there is absolutely no signal warnings. Everything's looking green, everything on the app is looking good, so I think basically we're all good. So let's fly out over the river here, and let's just see, you know, because for me, even though it was a horrible sort of like day in the previous video, I just felt like the picture quality on the Mini was just really, really good, and compared with the Fimi, I just didn't think the Fimi was that great. I think the wind is probably blowing it a little bit across, so to be a bit careful here. That is another issue with drones, just to be careful. If your wind is strong, then you could fly away and then not be able to get back. The wind isn't strong enough for that, I don't think, today, but yeah, we're not getting any signal issues at the moment. I think that's because we got it up higher, we got a better line of sight to the drone. I think before, the tree was kind of slightly getting in the way, and that was just blocking the signal a little bit. It was just right in the way of it. So, you know, it's very important to pick your position. Just because it looks nice where the area where you want to go, I think that doesn't necessarily correlate with yeah, it's going quite slow, isn't it? I wonder if we can sort of take it out of, let's put it in sports mode and see what kind of speed we get if we do that, because it just felt very slow to me. We're getting a little bit of breakup now. Now, don't forget, this drone is not using, it's not, yeah, I think the signal was lost. Yeah, signal's lost again. But we have set the setting now to return to home. So hopefully it will do that. Let's just see. The Mini one, that is one of the trade-offs. You'll get strong wind warnings, you'll get worse signal. Yeah, it is doing it, so that's really good. Yeah, we'll bring it back and we'll just fly it around this area. But I think the thing is, with the Mini one, that was the downside. It was just strong wind warnings all the time. It always gave a strong wind warning, even in the like kind of lightest breeze. I mean, I joked that really you just needed a massive warehouse with no wind in it, and that would be the only way you could fly it without getting a strong wind warning. But I tended to ignore them and they were fine. I'm not sure if you should. I mean, you know, the advice probably is don't ignore the strong wind warnings, but I mean, you know, kind of, you know, be sensible, and, you know, does it feel too strong to you? Look on UAV forecast, check out whether or not it is too strong to fly in. But yeah, it's coming back, no problem, and we'll just give it a bit of a fly around this area again, and let's see. But yeah, you know, that is an issue with the Mini one. So let's cancel, if we can cancel that. Yeah, cancel it, because it's going to try and land. Right, hang on, it's beeping. Could not access. Hang on, couldn't get out. Yes, cancel the landing. I don't know, it doesn't want to cancel it, you know, process has timed out. Yeah, right, anyway, it's fine now. It's cancelled it, I think. So let's see how we get on. Right, so let's just, you know, but the great thing is that the Mini 2 is under the 250 grams, so you're dealing with a nice sort of, you know, drone for that. Right, so in sports mode, it does seem to kind of turn very, so that's cinema mode on Litchi, and that's quite nice. That's a nice sort of, you know, let's fly about in that, I think. Now, what speed is it? It's doing 12 kilometers an hour, so it's not too bad. I mean, you know, I can sort of see it over me, which is good. And it's like, I don't want to go over the train line, so just keep an eye. Sometimes it looks like you're over something when you're not. So on videos, you can often get like you know, you're thinking, oh, he's over the train lines, but I'm not, because I can see that it's definitely not, but you don't get that sense. So anyway, I think we're going to need to go up, because it's probably a bit too low for that tree there. Again, you probably won't judge the heights right when you actually see things, because you know, the tree will look like it's coming into shot, but you're probably quite a bit above it. So yeah, I don't know about Litchi, whether you can sort of like customize the yaw sensitivity and stuff. So I did that on the Mini 2 on the Fly app, and I got it turning really nicely. The only thing was, we started to see a bit of a tilt in the horizon, and I just wonder if that was to do with those settings. So we ended up reversing that. But yeah, it's flying pretty well. You know, I think for my money, this Mini 1, the picture quality out of this camera, even though it's 2.7K, I think it's better than what you get on the Fimi Mini, certainly when your lens is misting up. And I just think, you know, your money is, you know, it's just not worth it, I think, going for the Fimi Mini. You know, I think that happens a lot. You know, you kind of think, oh, it's going to be a bargain because it's like 100, 200 quid cheaper than a DJI drone, if it's all good, then it is a great bargain. But if you have nothing but problems, it's not a great bargain, and you're not going to be able to get your money back, really, because you're going to have to send it back to China to be fixed. They'll probably charge you for fixing it. I mean, you know, we all saw Marcus Crawford over at Idaho Quadcopter. He was basically told, because he dropped it, he had to send it back to them, and they wanted to charge him for fixing it. And by the time he did the postage, by the time he gets it fixed, it's just not worth it. You know, he's made that decision to just go, you know what, I'll just get another one. So he did get another one from somebody else, and hopefully we'll see that soon. But yeah, just, you know, I don't know, but my Fimi Mini seemed to be really good, had lots of just making sure, I think the signal's a bit funny because I'm like beneath it, and like you often find that when you're right underneath the drone, that's where the signal's kind of worse, because it's going out like a circle, you know, beaming out, it's not going up. So I think you get the worst part of the signal is the bit that's going up. So, you know, your antennas kind of radiate outwards. So if they're really like horizontal, you know, if they're vertical like that, you probably get better signal out to the drone. It may not look as good, you know, it kind of like, it looks really, you know, you don't want it looking like that, but that probably gives you the better signal. A lot of people put it flat like that. Don't think you really get the best signal from that. And with the Mini 1, you probably do need to consider the position, because, you know, you don't get as good a signal to this drone because it's using enhanced Wi-Fi rather than using OcuSync, which you get on the Mini 2 and the Air 2. So, you know, you are basically getting a slightly worse connection to the drone. And, you know, I think we've been so spoilt with the Mini 2 now that you've kind of forgotten how sort of like fiddly this connection can be to the Mini 1. But it's still a very good drone, and I think, you know, the issues that it has are kind of like around things like signal and the strong wind, but it feels a solid drone. You know, I would trust this drone, even in strong winds, I would trust it to kind of, you know, get itself out of trouble almost, but I'm just not sure I can trust the Fimi in the same way. But yeah, I mean, the one thing that you don't get, I think, on the Litchi app is you don't get precision landing. So when we come into land, which we'll do soon, we're going to have to basically stop it when it's halfway landed, right? So I'm going to do the, hang on, where's it? Oh, hang on, no, I don't want to do that. I'll cancel that because that will land it there. I want to do go home. Yeah, so that's another thing to be careful of. There's a difference between landing and going home. And if you do the landing one, it will just land wherever it is. So be careful of that. That's the same with the Fly app as well. But yeah, I mean, if Litchi could add like precision landing to the drone, that would be great. I don't know if that's technically possible. I think it will go back up to 60 meters and then it will come over us. Again, it always looks like you're over those train lines, but you're not. You know, we're quite far back. So yeah, it always comes up with that strong wind warning. That was a constant thing with the Fly app as well. So, but anyway, Litchi seems to have done us proud today. We went out, we didn't have the same issue of losing the signal and not being able to return, and then having to run around and try and find the signal again this time. And let's see how close it gets to this pad. I've got the orange pad on today, so let's see if that makes a difference. I'll get ready to cancel it because I don't know. I mean, it didn't seem to have a setting for it. No, I would say it's nowhere near the pad. Nowhere near the pad. You can see the gimbal trying to sort of like account for the crosswind there. It was kind of at an angle, but it was working. So I should bring this up to the camera again, just because we've still got 23% of battery. It's not happy about that, but basically, look, yeah, you know, it's going around no problem. It's in tripod mode, so you can see it moves a lot slower. I think it's going to basically want to land pretty soon. Let's stick it in P mode again. Look, you can see that zips it up a bit. But yeah, when you just do the whole gimbal thing, you can see like the gimbal should stay in place. I don't know if you can see that. Bring it down slightly. I think you might be able to see that in the camera. Maybe down a little bit. You can see that camera should sort of stay, but there is a limit, of course. If it's blowing like too hard, the gimbal will go over. So right, we better get this drone down on this pad, because yeah, it's literally reached the point where it's not happy. Right, and there we go. Should be on it. Maybe slightly forward, slightly over. There we go. Well, we did cut a bit of dandelion there, but it wasn't too bad really. And what we'll do is we will stop the recording. That's very important. Make sure you close out the recording. So stop the recording before you turn the drone off. You know, that does cause problems, and you can end up with a video that's not closed out. So hopefully that's turned it off. Right, so, you know, Mini 1 again, a very capable little drone, and once again, I'm expecting the footage to be very, very good. Now, you can't really tell the difference between the Mini 2 and the Mini 1. And from what I can understand, the sensor is the same sensor in there. Maybe they beefed up the sort of processing power a little bit on the Mini 2. They certainly added a LiPo battery instead of the Li-ion battery that's in this. One being a chemical battery, the other being a sort of solid battery. But, you know, whether or not you could make this do 4K, I don't know if Litchi or anybody else can kind of beef up the power a bit, you know, change some settings, but I doubt it. I think they probably would have done it if it was possible. Now, you know, we may get as well that the Mini 2, the reason why that doesn't work with Litchi, so the Mini 2 can't do tracking. There's no active track feature, and I can't see DJI adding it, but the potential is that we have seen on forums that people have been saying that DJI have told them that in the next version of the SDK, the Mini 2 will be there. So hopefully Litchi will be able to add the Mini 2 into its app, and then you'll be able to do tracking on the Mini 2, which then you get in 4K, 30 frames a second. So it has been promised for a little while, but they were saying second quarter of 2021, so let's see. But you know, the Mini 2 could become the next drone to be able to do tracking, even if it's just with the Litchi app. So that's a potential. So you have to, you know, but I'm expecting that when we look at the footage of this drone compared with the Fimi in the previous video, I think we're going to see really, I was so impressed with how good the picture quality looked. I couldn't really tell that it wasn't 4K, and I don't know if it really is something to get out of your pram about, really. I think the thing is everybody works on specs. They're kind of like, oh, that's got 4K, oh, that's got 8K, 6K. But, you know, you need to look in the real world what it looks like. And, you know, the bigger the sensor, the better the picture quality, I think. Not necessarily the resolution. And I think 2.7K from this sensor, which is a 1/2.3 inch sensor, compared with the Fimi Mini, which uses the kind of 1/2.6 inch sensor, which is the smaller sensor. I think it's the same one that's been used in, I don't know if it's the same one that's been used in the Osmo Pocket, but anyway, there's a lot to it. It isn't just a case of bigger sensor, bit better picture quality. There's a lot of technology involved, and I think DJI get the balance right. They're very good at manufacturing these sort of drones. So I don't know, I just think I was a bit nervous buying the Mini 1 again, but I've been really happy. I mean, the signal could be a little bit better, but you know, that's the way it is. It may again be you know, it may be the trees that are in the way again. There's a lot of leaves now on the trees, and there's a lot more blocking the signal, so it is possible that if you had a nice big open area that you would get a much better signal. But yeah, I think we're going to see again in the footage that this drone blows away the Fimi Mini's picture quality. I just think that will be the case. A lot of people preferred the Mini 2 to the Fimi Mini when the videos were being done of that. I kind of thought the Fimi Mini looked better in some respects, but there was vignetting. Other people pointed that out too. So I don't know. I think it depends on the lighting. It depends on a lot of things. But I certainly, in the last video, this drone was so much better picture quality. Yes, there was fogging in the lens, but there's no fogging in this lens, and we don't see these manufacturing problems so much with the DJI. You know, it's much rarer. So that's the thing. I think for me, if it was my money and I was going out, this is going to be much more repairable. Same with the Mini 2. You're going to get a much better drone. You can do active track with Litchi if you've got a decent Android phone. This is only an S10. They can be picked up quite cheaply. So I think, you know, that's an option for you. Do you know what I mean? You know, if you've got an old Android Galaxy S10 or something like that, if you've got that phone anyway, or some phone newer than that, you're probably going to have a good experience with Litchi. And I think there's no reason not to use the active track on the Mini 1. So, and hopefully the Mini 2 will have it soon as well. So I think that was a good outcome. You know, I was hoping that that's what would happen. I was hoping that the tracking would all work, and it has done. So, you know, let's have a look at that footage and let's see if it looks better than the Fimi Mini footage from the previous video. So yeah, thanks very much for watching. I hope that's useful to you. I hope that's given you a little bit more confidence to use Litchi if you've got the right device to use it with. And it maybe will make you think about buying a Mini 1 again. And I think it's a great drone. I think you've got your batteries available for it. You know, you've got that, you know, there's a lot of stock about. There's a lot of, you know, eBay's full of, like, you know, spare batteries and that kind of thing, and bargains out there. So it's such a the problem with a lot of the Fimi and the Hubsan drones is not as many people have them. It's harder to get everything for. I just kind of think there's a good second-hand market for these, and there's even still a good new market. So yeah, you know, hopefully that's useful to you. Thanks very much for watching. We really appreciate you watching these videos. If you could like, if you enjoyed the video, please press like, that'd be great. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe to the channel. That's great. That would really help us out. And please share to your friends if you can. We'll see you again in the next one. Thanks very much for watching.